delighted to be here. It is great to see so many passionate people for data, AI, analytics. It is especially great to see our Telia community here. It is really good, guys, that you're here. So many friends, so many colleagues, so many partners also that I meet here. And so it's great to be here in person. We have a live streaming as well, but the real thing is to have a people mingling going on. So what I'm going to be showing today is how, as Telia, we transform into a data and AI-driven company. And I'm giving some insights on what are the use cases, how are we doing it. And of course, I have a bit of a selfish mission. I want to excite you all about the work that we are doing, to work with us, and maybe even to join us. We have started a transformation journey about 18 months ago with a strategy that follows our purpose, which is we reinvent better connected living. It's around inspiring customers, connecting everyone, transforming to digital, and delivering sustainably. And how does data and analytics really ingrain and support our strategy? I will show a few use cases and give you a few data points just to give an impression. This is more an appetizer than a deep discussion on any of the use cases, which we can have if you come, for example, to our booth, where we can go a lot deeper. Number one, we love our customers. We are proud to serve about 24 million customers in our footprint. And the customers' demands, the customers' insights, what is the pain points, what are the things our customers want really is on top of our mind day and night. And so in order to do that, what we are doing is we are creating insights along the customer journey. We are creating insights, asking the customer. We are seeing the relational NPS, and all this goes up to the brand and the brand perception that we have as Telia, which is the strongest brand in the region. This all results in a petabyte storage that we manage. It results in terabytes and terabytes of new data that we generate every single day. And we have 5 billion records and transactions in our data lake that we can mine. So it's a massive amount of data from a breadth, from a depth, and from a velocity perspective. And it's really good, but of course, we need to handle this data, so we need to abstract it up so that we can create the right insights and actions. And one of the insights and actions that we take and we developed recently is what we call customer value management. Customer value management is all around understanding the needs, understanding the pain points, and understanding the information the customer, for example, wants to have. We have developed this on AWS, serverless. We have data models, we have machine learning. We are using 300 and plus attributes in our models to really understand what is the next best action, what is the next best offer the customer should be getting. And what we see is two things. Number one, when we are proposing a product or a service to the customer that's relevant at the right time, at the right channel, the right product, there's a significant uptick in the conversion. But also what we see, if we give information to the customer, for example, why is your Wi-Fi network at home not working? Maybe your client is too far from the router and you need a mesh network. We are also seeing those insights. We are recommending to the customer, and we see that also the customer satisfaction significantly goes up by giving the right information to the right customer at the right time. So a massive value-driving use case that we see. We built this up fairly recently, and we are evolving our models. And as to the reuse of what we just discussed, we reuse those models across our markets so we can constantly evolve the quality and the precision of our CVM, the customer value management. We also love innovation. And one of the innovation cases relating to AI and big data I wanted to share is relating to video streaming. As you may know, we are running the TV4 TV business, which has a large advertising component, which we are quite proud to run. We have great content, and obviously now the question is, how can you combine the great content and the advertising with a relevancy to the customer? And so what we have built, I think, as a quite world-leading technology is a real-time, relevant individual ad insertion into the live stream. So our 5 million customers that we have, typically in an event we have about 300 400, 500 concurrent video streams, we are now able in real time to detect a targeting to each of those streams and to do an ad insertion of a video advertising individually and targeted. In addition, what we do is we are now also running the ad auctioning, so the ad sales almost in real time, so there can be the real-time ad bidding for those customers to be targeted. This runs, as you may expect, serverless on AWS, and probably we are one of the world's largest serverless Lambda users to get this spin up, this capacity that we need to do these decisions in real time for a video stream. We also love our networks. Our networks serve our 24 million customers across the footprint. We are spending about 15 billion SEK every year into our networks and into our IT. The large part goes into the network infrastructure. And so the question is, of course, how do we optimally spend the capacity? What is the best way of upgrading our networks? We are upgrading to 5G. We are delivering, for example, 500 Mbps downlink speed now in a city like Helsinki, right now as we speak, average. This is not peak, this is average, 500 Mbps. We are having in Finland 70% pop coverage and 5G. We are ramping up all our markets with 5G, but all this money that we spend, all the capacity increase that we need, how do we optimally steer that? And here again comes the big data analytics, where we take in the usage, we take in the geography, we take in the demography, we take in also the cost components, how expensive is it in certain areas to build out. And we are coming up with a decision model that really drives the optimal CapEx utilization so that we get the best bang for the buck. And hence also we are able to drive a most efficient underpinning capacity when we see about 35% data traffic increase every single year. So it's a 10x over 10 years at least. Can you flip the page, please? We also deal, obviously, with cybersecurity a lot. We are running a very critical infrastructure, and we are investing significantly in the tools and in the talent around protecting us and protecting our customers. Just to give a few impressions, if you go to the next page. To give a few impressions, we are protecting about 100,000 endpoints. These are the PCs, these are the mobiles, these are the servers. All of these are attack surfaces. All of them are protected. We are looking at a tremendous amount of DDoS attacks from us, from our customers, thank you, which also, of course, we handle, and we make sure that we are getting a stability in the system. And all of this is done by our security experts. So how does data, how does AI come in here? And this is all around getting an identification of all these alarms, all these attacks, what is relevant, how do we correlate certain events and find out what is behind it, what is the root cause. We are seeing also the so-called zero-day attacks. How do we see the patterns, how do we see the signature of zero-day attacks rather than knowing already what is the attack, basically software, what is the attack. We need to see the behavior of the systems and see anomalies of the behavior and detect from there how to rate a certain incident that we see. And also, once there's an attack, we need to understand what is the root cause. So we go very deep. And all of this is basically done also by machine learning, where we can correlate patterns, where we can correlate also outside events that we bring in, and so that we get to the right action in real time. One specific use case I wanted to share, and this is also what we show over in the booth, it's what we call the external data monetization. How can we also not only use data to improve our customer experience, to improve our network build out, but also to monetize and help other customers to benefit from it. And so what we call Crowd Insights uses a significant amount of data points which are anonymized, which are aggregated, of course fully GDPR compliant, but to get information about moving patterns of people. And this is really, really important. So we see, for example, 50 million trips per day that we can analyze, and we see use cases now from our customers that are using this information. For example, what we did during the pandemic, we were interested, or we were asked, how are people actually adhering to the travel guidelines. Are people staying at home? Are people still traveling? Where are they traveling? Where do we need potentially to adjust the guidelines that we have had, for example, here in Sweden? The other question was, for example, what is the predicted patients that are coming in due to COVID into the hospitals, so we can get prepared? Also here, we did a data-driven, AI-driven model together with the health authorities to forecast the patient intensity coming in to be prepared. We also see there's a lot of usage around public transportation. How does the public transportation authorities optimize the network, seeing the real travel on the public roads, seeing the travel on the public transportation, on the private roads, and optimizing the network accordingly, the time and kind of the direction. And also, last but not least, what we see, there is brick and mortar stores coming in. They want to know, where should I open my store? What should I offer at a certain time? What is my optimal setup that I have for my real business in the real world, where there's real people coming in and buying my products, and I want to be there where people are. So it's a really, really valuable business that we drive, fast growing. And if you want to know more, please come to the booth and visit us. We run all this based on AIOps. We are running all this in massive systems across the network, across the IT, across the customer touchpoints. So these are millions of events that we are processing per second. These are the so-called XDRs, the event records that we have from all the transactions that are going on. Now, how to handle this massive amount of information, how to extract from this massive amount of data flow all the events into the relevant signatures so that we can, for example, predict and prevent incidents. This is the whole, what we call AIOps operation that we run. You actually see our real operating center picture in the background. So we extract from all this massive flow about 5,000 events per day that we more than ever automated look at what are patterns, what are anomalies, what are correlations, and from there we can either see that there's a correlation to a customer ticket coming in, we can correlate and feedback to the customer, we can go classify and go to the root cause of these events, remove them. We can also adapt thresholds, because you always have thresholds in those systems. When do I trigger an alarm? I don't want to have too many alarms, because then I have the storm ongoing on false alarms. But also, I don't want to miss any alarm, so I need to then tune down the threshold. So all this threshold setting is done automatically, and it's really, really important for us to run such a massive operation. And of course, the prediction of outages before they happen and the prevention of outages and incidents is very, very key for us. So this is a massive application of big data, of machine learning, and of AI to go and have a possibility to handle and use such an amount of data that we have here in our systems. What we are also doing is what we call process mining. Now, process mining might sound a little bit boring sometimes, but process mining is really important, because if you look at the lowest level of processes, how many processes we have in a company like Telia, at the lowest level you talk about 500,000 process steps. 500,000 process steps across the product, across the customer, across the technology, across all the enterprise processes that you have, finance, HR, and so on. How do we look at those processes? How do we understand where are inefficiencies? How do we drive the process simplification, the process digitization, and the process automation by having a machine looking at it and then driving it? I think that is the key question that everyone solves, and we have solved. What we have done is we have partnered with the world's inventor of process mining, I think the world leader of process mining, who is called Celonis. Celonis is a German startup. It used to be a unicorn. Now it's, I think, a decathlon. And we are very proud to be pioneering now the application of process mining in a large-scale environment. So we see the analyze right now, just for one use case we have done, we see about 20 million process events that we look at, for example, for a fiber ordering process. You order a fiber, you get it to the home, you get it activated. So many steps are there. There are variants. We need to look at the variants and we need to see how can we optimize and how can we also automate. I come to this in a second. Huge value potential by automating. And we see that the community of process excellence people is growing significantly. So we see a lot of traction in process automation and process mining. And the process automation, intelligent automation, is sitting basically on top of the process insights that we have. Typically what we do, we integrate directly through a messaging-based and API-based IT architecture, but some of the processes you need to do with an RPA, with a bot. So then you run the bots. We are running about 500 bots as we speak, and we are applying AI use cases on top of those, for example, in the customer care, with sentiment analysis and with an automatic classification of the calls coming into the customer care agent and the action that is generated out of it. And we see that we are saving hundreds of thousands of hours every year by applying a process automation where we take a repetitive task into a bot, and we are then smartifying the bot as we go to be much more insightful than probably ever a human can be. So a really powerful application of machine learning and AI in a real world environment. We are running a massive cloud transformation. Just another appetizer for you. Cloud transformation means we go from bare metal to virtualized to containerized to serverless. That's basically the transformation that we do. And we run on a fit-for-purpose cloud. Many of the workloads that I talked about, especially towards the BSS, the OSS, and the network, are running on-prem with our own data centers, but we also run significant amount of workloads on the public cloud, and one of the key partners that we have here is AWS, and we just completed a few weeks ago a massive SAP migration from on-prem legacy into AWS SAP4HANA, successfully done, less than a year, 30 billion records from the old to the new system migrated, quite a bit of chunk, and we see huge benefits, many of them. One of them, for example, the 10x speed improvement because of the in-memory processing that we have now with the HANA architecture as compared to before. I talked about AWS. I talked about some of the use cases that we have done. We have built a tremendous amount of partnerships. We rely with our transformation on the leading partners globally. In the different domains, we have different partners, but I can say AWS is one of the key partners that we are having to build the analytics stack within less than a year from the Redshift up to the SageMaker. We have built a data platform, serverless. We are spinning up all these data models, the CVM use case that I was talking about. So this is really creating a momentum unlike ever before. We are running other transformations like the SAP HANA migration. And this is just fueling in a lot of innovation, a lot of speed, and a lot of reusability into Telia. And I wanted to give the word to Fabio, who is our MD for the EMEA region, to just talk about what is the impression of AWS on us as Telia. How are we to deal with? Let's hear from Fabio.
A strong partnership is built on trust, and trust is built on people and competence. In Telia, we have found an incredible asset of change agent leadership, which embraced the Amazon culture of innovation and AWS cloud technology to transform the company. We are super proud of the joint vision around data democratization that we have built with Telia and how we have been executing through data analytics and machine learning. We are super keen to see where this strong partnership will take us next and to see how Telia will help their customers to go through the same transformation, unlocking the power of data.
So the partnership we have with AWS is just outstanding. I can just call it out. It's a very personal relationship. Fabio and I, we have many deep discussions. The team is fully integrated. We share the experience. We share the training. We have certifications going on. So it's really deep. But you, of course, also work with others. We work with the GCP. We work with the Azure. So it's a deep relationship. But here it's just one very good example of how does it work. And I want to end basically with the team. The team, Josephine here, smiling, everyone around from the Telia. We are just an amazing, community, I can say that. Total, we are driving the company Telia into a 100% data and AI-driven operation. This is the only way to go. This is how we can be successful and we can be fast enough in the ever-changing world. As I said, we have about 4,500 product and tech engineers that I'm proud to lead. And we are having about 350 people in the data and analytics community, specifically growing about 100 people every year. So we are looking for talent all the time. And I can just say, it's an amazing journey we have started. It's amazing to be here and to get a bit more insights also to you and to get excitement back to us. And if you want to join our transformation, please ring us up. We are here. Thank you very much.